James Cook putting his Buffalo home in Orchard Park up for sale as a holdout looms as the man demands $15 million per year. Yeah, this holdout's been a little bit under the radar lately. We haven't even talked about it a lot because the news on it went stale and dormant, and no one was really sure how much this kid was going to push back on the Buffalo Bills, who gave him a 20-some total touchdown season on the year. But how much of a product is he of the offense? And instead of him being the reason the rushing game has success. And is our midseason monster Ray Davis looking good over here in the corner? Somebody that's been on this board from the beginning of its inception in January, maybe early February, but January. Our boy Ray Davis looking mighty spry over there on the corner of the midseason monster list. Now, I will say this. I think there's a real 50-50 chance that the Buffalo Bills cave, and this is kind of one of those things where you expect a team to do one thing because it's logical, and they don't pay for wide receivers. They don't want to draft wide receivers. They don't want to trade for big-name wide receivers. Then all of a sudden, it's like, okay, they're not going to pay this running back $15 million. Boom! Then they do. I don't know. All I know is this team traditionally does try and penny pinch in many ways. I don't know how this is going to go. And stranger things have happened with big name players like this getting traded or moved, especially as we approach the NFL draft now that we're sitting in April. We've got, we'll sum up some of the Shanahan news, the Brandon Aiyuk news, and the Jordan Mason news. Jordan Mason going to the moon as we talk about midseason monsters. The video before this, the video we did about an hour and a half ago, maybe 2 hours ago, Jordan Mason was the main focal point of that show. And now we're talking about Ray Davis. These are two midseason monsters, and it's not like we just added them. The news today has relevance to our midseason monster list. It's glorious. The Fantasy Football Show, Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific time. Begins right now. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
So I'll read this report. There's several tweets or posts on X about this topic right now, so everybody's kind of conversating about it. But one report, Bills Pro Bowl running back James Cook has listed his Orchard Park home for sale. Cook is holding out for $15 million per year on an extension. Buffalo has made it clear they will not pay that. That report coming from Nick something. We got another report here from Ari from My Sports Report. Pro Bowl running back James Cook has listed his Orchard Park home for sale via the same source, though, at the end of the day. So there's not much new on that, and that's the one you see on screen right here. I don't know what to make of this. You don't know what to make of this. That's why we're here. That's what we do. We break it down to the best of our abilities, and sometimes things like this are a wolf crying out, and there's nothing, the boy who cried wolf, and there's nothing here, and we're all going to be just plenty satisfied with our James Cook production in 2025 in a Buffalo Bill uniform. But, man, what if this goes sideways? What if our midseason monster Ray Davis gets a phone call and they say, hey, we hear there's a home for sale. You want to purchase said home from our boy James Cook? It's up for sale. It's just right down the street. It'd be a great place for you to kind of nestle yourself in as you become some sort of superstar. Now, I'm not an idiot. I know that the likelihood of Ray Davis starting week 1 is not in the cards. He is a midseason monster for a reason, because I do think that James Cook has a risk of getting hurt, a risk of regressing, and they started to give Davis more and more work. There was a nice pockets of the season where Ray Davis looked really good. And I do believe this might make some of you really mad, some of you James Cook owners, Dynasty especially. You're going to be pissed off. when I say this, but I think Cook is good. I don't think Cook is great. I think Cook is more of a product of, I think he's closer to being a product of his offense than he is being an elite running back. I think he's closer to being a product of 20 touchdowns by the Buffalo Bill rushing attack and offensive setup than he is being a running back that can naturally get you 20 touchdowns on the sum total of the season. I think this is 50-50 on whether it works out well. But here's the thing you got to factor, and this is why we are here. This is what we do.
Let him cook.
This is what separates the men from the boys, the Mickey Mouse shows from the big boy, the big dog shows. If this holdout gets ugly, injury is upon us in terms of this kid. There's no way he has a successful season if this thing gets ugly and he stretches it out, because injury risk is already, in the cards for RBs, let alone guys that have been worked to the degree he's been worked. He brings that injury risk into 2025 no matter what. James Cook has always been kind of an enigma and question mark anyway, so we're not really sure how to hold value on him in Dynasty Redraft. And then all of a sudden, he's going to potentially hold out a little bit. We'll see how ugly this gets, but every day he holds out, let's call it not now, but let's call it once we get to camp. Every day he holds out, there's a small amount of injury risk and even bad play, just messing with his mentals that there's present. And it grows exponentially. So missing a little bit of camp, just a smidge of risk gets added to the plate. Then he misses, a week, a smidge more. And then as you get closer and closer to August, it starts amplifying. And the risk of every day gets heavier, bigger. It's more grand in terms of impact. That is what we're dealing with. So I'm not saying that happens. Maybe he doesn't hold out. Maybe he holds in. Holding in is not necessarily all that different, though. If he's holding in, he's not doing anything either. Maybe he's a little bit more mentally there, and that's good. Instead of being on your own playing Madden and eating potato chips and running circles around the park or something to keep in shape. Like, there is something to holding in a little bit. Like, look at Jamar Chase. He held in a lot of ways last year. Did it affect him? Carry the one. No, he had the triple crown. So holding in is a little better than holding out. But I do believe that we're looking at a running back that has a tremendous amount of risk anyway, and this just adds to it. So you want a absolute zero risk, huge upside running back? It's Ray Davis. And dare I say, let's not get too stuck on Ray Davis, and that's no offense to Ray Davis. I like him a lot, but this situation is beautiful. Maybe if this is a problem, or they even trade him away, they draft a running back better than Ray Davis. So part of me thinks it's logical and smart and responsible to come over here on this list and say, you know what? This is also not just going to be a Ray Davis, but a running back. Like, we'll figure out how to quantify this and spell it out so that it's clear. I'm just going to put this right here, right now. It's Ray Davis and other running back that might be a rookie that they draft. I'll probably maybe identify it as a rookie or something. So rookie plus Ray Davis. The reason I say that is the same thing that happened over here with Mason. It was Mason and Garendo. It wasn't just Mason. It was Mason and Garendo will win you leagues. Mason and Garendo will give you an enhanced ability to have that huge edge on every single owner in your league. And damn, did it work.
Let him cook.
Damn, did it work. Damn, did it work. Did Mason and Garendo ever work? So let's be smart here and logical, okay? Davis and rookie running back. Let's be very, very smart how we talk about this. So, in fact, let's make it right now. I'm going to put it down here, and I'm going to move this, and we're going to say or rookie running back. So everybody understands what we're talking about here. So and or rookie RB. I don't think it'll be a free agent RB. There's really nobody left that's going to probably have any sort of, value that's going to scare me off or whatever. But this is a team that could say, you know what? hold out all you want. The draft is coming. We're taking Cam Scottaboo, or we're taking Harvey, who's been kind of climbing up, rankings lately. We could take somebody. It could be somebody like that is kind of under the radar. Giddens could be the guy that ends up getting drafted. There's a ton of RBs, which, mind you, if you're kind of like scraping by and saying, how do I find this list, Smitty? You go to thefantasyfootballshow.com, son, and you cop yourself a 2025 or a lifetime membership to thefantasyfootballshow.com, where there's year-round rankings, rookie rankings, super rookie rankings. My super rookie rankings I coined so many years ago, and everybody is stealing them right now, or some sort of version of them where it's the rookies and sophomores only. So it gives you a real good sense of what dynasty value is actually out there and how to prepare for that. And so sophomores and rookies basically is what that ranking is. So you got like Damian Martinez. You got Ollie Gordon could be drafted by the Buffalo Bills. Giddens, Trevor Etienne, Allen, Brashard Smith. Caleb Johnson I don't really like. Dylan Sampson. Imagine if Samsonite. Imagine if the briefcase went over there. Imagine if that's what we call him over here, is the briefcase. You know why we call him the briefcase? A, because his name's Samsonite. It's Dylan Sampson. But also because the briefcase, it's shifty. You can put it anywhere. You open it up and what's inside, you don't even know. Dylan Sampson, the briefcase, could come for anybody. So either the briefcase gets drafted over to it's the best nickname probably ever. Either the briefcase gets drafted over to Buffalo or they take Gordon. Ollie Gordon would be awesome in Buffalo. So we'll see what's happening. I don't know. But certainly, something to be concerned about. Certainly something to keep your eyeball on. And in best ball, where's the value of James Cook right now? Goes in like the third round? I don't think so. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. That's Smitty disapproved.
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
Phone lines are open. Dial into the show and do it live.
Call into the show. Call into the show. Hi, my name is B. John Robinson. I like long walks on the beach. And, well, I also like scoring touchdowns.
But the continuum of the gigawatt component structure of Jahmyr Gibbs' workload divide has a megawatt offload that if you compartmentalize the component conjunction timekeeper and you flux capacitor out the continuum component megabolt, things just end up happening. And that's why Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 5 to 10 running back instead of top 6 to 10.
Hey, Chan.
He's Kyron. He's 7 feet.
People are getting burrowed left and right, and people are going to remember it.
Get burrowed.
Just a few little numbers I thought I'd throw at you. All right. Hit me with your questions. Dial into the show. Do it live. James Cook does the best in snow. Well, you don't know that. You don't know. You haven't seen Ray Davis run in the snow consistently, have you? You haven't seen the briefcase get tossed into the snow. You don't know what he's capable of. Look, James Cook is good, but he's not elite. He's not an elite player. He's a good player. Really good, almost really good player, I'd say. But he's not an elite player. I'm not saying Ray Davis is elite either, though. I'm just saying he's a really good player, too. And it's almost like next man up mentality. And if it is Ray Davis, and especially if you got Cook getting injured at some point, especially if he holds out, and just the nature of that position in general, the running back position, and in Buffalo, and the way they used him last year, he was used a ton. And the concern you have anyway just about Cook is his longevity is just kind of always a question mark. And you throw Ray Davis in there. No one's saying Ray Davis is a top 5 running back, but Ray Davis is a league winner when you're talking about Ray Davis being a practically free running back in a situation. Yeah, so phone line's open. I think it's open. I think I restarted it.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
For those that missed the earlier show, Brandon Aiyuk's contract is guaranteed for 2026 now. That triggered on April 1st, so he is not even capable of being traded anymore. The Niners would have possibly released him. I'm not saying for sure. I'm not even saying over 50% chance they would have. But this is a guy that they couldn't release and they couldn't trade because of his contract and because of his injury. Because he tore his ACL on the job, they can't cut him. But they also were trying to get rid of him. If anybody says, oh, they wouldn't have released him, then why were they actively shopping him to get his contract off the roster? No one's going to pay and deal with his contract with an ACL tear that's going to have him not back until mid-season-ish. And even then, he's probably not the same guy. So definitely a bad situation for the Niners to be in. They basically got robbed again. They were getting robbed by Jimmy Garoppolo for years. They ruined Trey Lance, and then that ended up robbing them of the future picks and all the, everything that went in with that. And then now they get robbed for $30 million a year on Brandon Aiyuk. And now you've got Brock Purdy trying to get $55 to $60 million a year. I just don't think the Niners, especially without Adam Peters, the best GM in football, who's now in Washington, I don't think they do well in the offseason. I mean, they had a good run, a really, really good run. But they just haven't looked the same without Peters in terms of drafting. And good God, I mean, just their offseason procedures and policies and the way they go about signing players is just the worst in the league. There's no team that's worse in the league than dealing with their players in the offseason. If you remember back, I could go on and on. The Debo holdout, the Aiyuk holdout, the Bosa holdout, all of them played horrible that year that they held out because the Niners dragged their feet until they held out so long that they busted that year. All of them. Bosa, at least Bosa for half a year. Debo, horrible year. Aiyuk, you know what happened. It just happened. Anybody that holds out usually has an amplified risk of injury, and the Niners don't learn their lesson. And now they're far apart, I've heard, on the Purdy deal. And second of all, it's like you unload the entire roster, okay? You cut everybody. You're clearly rebuilding. And now Brock Purdy's got this lesser team. McCaffrey, they gave him an upgraded increase in salary, and then he just falls flat right away. Like, this team spends money worse than anybody I've ever seen. It's crazy. And then if you want more examples of misuse of personnel and decision-making in the offseason, remember when they said goodbye to Jimmy Garoppolo, and Jimmy Garoppolo had a goodbye press conference? Remember that? He had a goodbye press conference, said goodbye. They took his playbook away. He was walking on the outskirts of the sideline during practice. He wasn't even allowed on the field to absorb plays. He had to kind of just walk and jog around the outside. He basically said goodbye. And then they, a couple weeks later, bring him back as a starter and hand him the playbook and move on with Jimmy Garoppolo as a starter. It's just been a disaster. So much so that, especially the Aiyuk situation, this is an 8-year difference. We did a show on this. It was mainly on Jordan Mason, but look at the difference between. This is like when a president serves 4 years or even 8 years. They look so much older after their presidency. This is an 8-year difference. The photo on the left was 2017. The photo on the right is 2025. And the man looks like he's been through the ringer. It is crazy. And part of it I blame on Aiyuk, and I put him through a TikTok age filter and said, add 10 years. And this is what we're looking like. If Shanahan can survive another 10 years as a Niner head coach, this is what he'll look like in 10 years, ladies and gentlemen. Pray for the man. Pray for the man. And then the Jordan Mason news. We talked about Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason is such a monster in the making. I'm excited. You're excited. Where's my Jordan Mason news when I need it? Here it is right here. Is it right here? Where is it? Where is it? That's Godwin. That's Godwin. Oh, you know what? I know where it is. I hid it. I hid it behind this graphic right here. There it is. There you are, Jordan. Jordan Mason, according to his head coach, Kevin O'Connell, says he's not a running back 2. He's the 1B. And they're going to specifically target usage on short yardage and goal line situations, which means that this man is going in double-digit rounds, this midseason monster of ours here on the midseason monster list. This Jordan Mason character is a double-digit round win-a-league player. And you know the drill. We've got a special little video for our man Jordan Mason. Let's hit that Masonite video if I can find it. Here it is right there.
Well, no going back now. You sure you want to do this, Kyle? Yeah. We have to. Let's go. Start the procedure. Masonites assemble.
Assemble, Masonites, assemble. It's that simple. We'll convene on Sundays regularly. The Masonite group, the Masonite Foundation, the Masonite fan club, secretive fan club. Feels so secretive. If you're a Masonite, you know who you are. You're in an elite club. An elite club. He made Shanahan sound like Beavis and Butthead. I think I sound a lot like Shanahan there, to be honest with you. He's like, Have you ever heard Shanahan? He goes, must have had surgery to pull his ears back. I don't know about that, Jay Freezy. I'm not an ear specialist, or an ear, nose, or throat doctor. But what we do here we have a special, particular set of skills that make us a nightmare for your league mates. Skills I've acquired over a long career where we
Let him cook.
That's what I know. Assemble, Mason Knights, do it live. Knicks will win league starting this year. I think he definitely can. I like Knicks. Knicks could be a top 5, top 6. I'm call him top 5, top 6 to 8 quarterback for sure, which is fantastic. Ray Davis to the moon, absolutely. Trade Knicks for Mahomes in Dynasty. I'd rather have Mahomes by quite a bit. Even though I like Knicks a lot, I just think Mahomes is going to come for everybody. You know, partly due to the help of this individual right here that everybody seemed to have written off until later on in the season, and now he's everybody's darling wide receiver.
Xavier Worthy, your wide receiver from the combine. He can't catch.
Does he have hands?
Many say he won't make it at the next level.
Enough. Watch me. I must go back and make it right.
Xavier Worthy, he can't catch. Just fast. He won't make it.
Catch this. Great catch. Wow, nice catch. He's not overrated.
He's not overrated.
He can really catch.
The guy's going to ball. And more importantly, dude, Rashee Rice is going to ball. It's going to be back. They fully expect him to be back for not only camp, but obviously week 1. We did the video last night. I don't know if I still have it on screen here. No, I don't. Oh, by the way, go watch this video. Nobody's hiring Mecca Egbuka but this channel. This channel has been pumping it up. But this literally could be the number 1 wide receiver in the draft class. I think Travis Hunter is. Of course, I will go to my grave until the moment in time where that switch gets flipped. If he gets drafted as a DB and the team doesn't use him as anything but a DB, then I'll be wrong. But I won't be wrong on the talent. I won't. I think Hunter is the best shot at being a top 14, 15 overall player in fantasy. Not 15 wide receiver, overall player. He's an unbelievable player, a weapon, a touchdown on every touch in the making. And even if they use him, whatever team drafts him at 55% snap share on the offensive side, he's going to get probably the same amount of targets than if he played 90% of the snaps. You need to understand that. There's a big difference between a player coming in and then you're like, okay, it's rare that he comes on the field. What are we going to do? Not give him the ball? You think they're going to run him onto the field 55% of the time to not give him the ball? He comes on the field, it's going to be like, okay, there could be some decoy plays, maybe some reverses and things to like get defenses to think it's going to Hunter, sure. But at the end of the day, when he comes on the field, he's coming on the field to be a weapon. And this is my number 2 wide receiver. He has the capability, if Hunter doesn't get used right, to be the one. This is my 2/1. This is the guy that I believe turns into that slot receiver monster of the draft class. That he's 6'1", he's 205, he has 1,000-yard seasons, multiple to show for, multiple 10-touchdown seasons to show for, 12 total touchdowns in 2022. He's a kick returner by nature. His freshman year led the Big Ten, I believe, in average as a freshman, and takes that kick returning skill set and wraps it into his receiving game. And he was a big-time scouted wide receiver coming into college. Egbuka's got so much ability to become not just a good wide receiver, but an elite slot wide receiver at the National Football League level. And his kick returning style is evident in his play. He loves contested catches. He's got amazing hands. He rips everything down. And he loves contact. He invites contact. He can weave within traffic because of his skills of returning and slot wide receiver play. But he's not just a slot wide receiver. He could play anywhere. He just was so good at slot, they ran him out there. Egbuka is the man. Borderline want to make him a freaking supernova, but I don't know that I could put 2 wide receivers from this weaker wide receiver class on the supernova list. It's just, I want people to know how much I love him. He is a moon man.
The moon man, dropping loads in outer space.
And just for the record, he was dropped on the moon man list on December 10.
Space Monsters.
Let's replace Debo. It's long enough. It's been long enough that Debo's got no name. The man with no name, Debo Samuel. Here you go, Debo. Let's give you the respect you deserve. There it is. Debo was added. I don't know what date. Travis or anybody here, does anybody know what date I added Debo? I want to say it was like, I'm going to put March 31st until I have a confirmation if anybody can remember when I added Debo. But I think it was March something. I want to say. I'm just going to put 31st until I can fix that. But Debo Samuel, Dylan Sampson, the briefcase, a.k.a. the briefcase, Travis Hunter, Cam Scattaboo, the Scat Man, Egbuka, the slot monster. I mean, look at these guys. This is a risky but awesome crew, and they're loaded with rookies. Debo, the elder on the list. Blue 32, Egbuka. Go route, baby. Take it all the way. Who's yelling that to him, though? Who's the one yelling Blue 32, Egbuka on 3? Who's yelling at? What quarterback's going to yell, Egbuka? Take it to the house, baby. Who's yelling at? What quarterback's going to do that? Before I call this out, before I have him run his route, tell me, where's Egbuka going? I mean, I tend to say, like, he goes to Dallas, I'm a little disappointed because we want him to be a number 1 somewhere. I don't know. But like, he could go, look, if they trade Tyreek Hill in Miami, he would be phenomenal in the Debo role. Because Egbuka reminds me of Debo meets, he gets a lot of St. Brown comps, so we'll throw that in there. Egbuka meets Debo, meets St. Brown, meets Cooper Kupp. That's probably in JSN even. Like, not to say he's better than all those guys. I'm just saying he's got the combination of skill sets from all those guys that make it hard to comp him to one player. But those are some unbelievable comps. And you put him in Miami in the wide back role in place of Tyreek Hill. Egbuka goes to the moon. He's going to be better than Waddle. Oh, Smitty, no, not my Waddle. I've been waiting on Waddle forever. Don't say that, Smitty. Waddle's supposed to go to the moon. I've been waiting for years. Ziggy, Volume 10. I've been waiting for years. Ziggy, Volume 10. Ziggy, how old is Jalen Waddle?
Jalen Waddle is 26 years old and was born November 25th.
So turns 27 this year. He'll turn 28 next year. So if Tyreek Hill doesn't get traded, he'll turn 28 next year. Your time is running out for the Waddle experiment as the number 1 wide receiver. It's me. This guy can't be Egbuka. Okay, so if he doesn't go to the Dolphins on a sort of Tyreek Hill, trade opens up a spot for him, where does Egbuka go? He could fall into this, like, imagine him in Cincinnati. Like, I wouldn't want that for his value necessarily, but for Joe Burrow, it would just go to the roof. Egbuka to Houston, I just don't think he'll fall that far. They'd have to move up, but it's possible. Denver, possibility. I hope it's not Indy. I don't want him there. I don't know that a wide receiver could develop there. Cardinals could take him. I kind of fear that. I don't hate it as a fan, but I hate it from fantasy because they can't even feed MHJ. And I do think that's a possibility. Carolina could take Egbuka at 8 if his value climbs high enough, or if they move down. The Chargers would take him if he fell, but again, I don't think he'll fall. Green Bay is very interesting because they need a wide receiver. Buffalo would be great if they moved up. Washington would be great if they moved up for the long term. Houston, like I said, is good. Egbuka's, there are some situations where it's like you want him to go to New England to be the one, but they need to move down. You would love for him to go to LV, but they would probably need to move down. Although values can change, Egbuka could be a climber. I mean, we've been talking about him for a while now. You're starting to hear a lot of people mention him lately. I don't know if they're watching the show. Hello. Or they're just, finally coming around but love the guy. Love him. Phone line's open. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
What's Daniel complaining about with Xavier Worthy? Worthy will have great games and dud games. These types of wide receivers are worse, in my opinion, falling short of. Look, Daniel, the fact that you're even saying this negative spin on Worthy when he was a rookie last year, you're drawing long-term conclusions on a player that broke out and he's super consistent at the end of the year, Daniel. I think you heard this somewhere and you're repeating it because it doesn't make sense, Daniel. You're literally defining a man by his rookie year and a player that was very consistent at the end of the year at the, sum total. You look at this thing, bro. Let me pull up his game log. I think it's wild to suggest that he wasn't on a mission at the end of the year. He looked really, really good. Number one, his last 2 playoff games, my broski, are probably the most important thing that you could look at in terms of what this kid's bringing to the table moving forward, because these were high pressure games where the team was most reliant on him, most trusting of him, threw him out there to be the guy. In his final 2 playoff games in a row were 8 targets, 8 receptions, 157 and 2 touchdowns. 7 targets, 6 receptions, 85 and 1 touchdown. Back-to-back games, my broski. This is not a guy that's been dropping duds consistently. He just didn't break out until the end of the year, and that's not on him. That's on usage. They would very rarely target him consistently, and that's just the way it is. But, I mean, he also had, if you look at his final 3 games of the regular season, my boy, and consider the last week of the season, they weren't playing everybody, obviously. So you can't even look at his final game. You got to look at the 2 prior to that. So excluding the January 5th game, bro had 9 for 79 and a touch, 11 for 65 and a touch. His last 2 games in the playoffs were monster games. His last 2 games played in the regular season were monster games. This guy's a touchdown machine, bro. I mean, what more do you want from him? What more do you want from him, my guy? Literally, his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games played, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touchdowns. In 5 games, he had 5 touchdowns. So again, I ask you, who said that? And you're repeating it, Daniel. You can't do that. You can't come in and give instructions to the audience like you were, where you're like, guys, listen, gather around. I know Smitty's talking about Worthy, but gather around. Okay, we're gonna revolt here. I've got it on good authority that Worthy's gonna throw a bunch of dud games in a row at you, and he's worse than another receiver that's gonna be a little lesser, but consistently lesser. Okay, so gather around. On 3, we're gonna revolt against Smitty. I mean, who the hell's feeding you that shit? Daniel? I love you, pal, and I'm trying to help you, but you need to stop venturing off to other channels. The dude himself. Appreciate you, champ. Hope you and the fam are good. Thank you, Shoddy. Shoddy, where you been? We haven't seen you in a while. And I'm not just saying that for super chat reasons, but like I am kind of like reminiscing on a Shoddy super chat like right now, like total deja vu. Like I've been here before. It feels unfamiliar, but familiar at the same time. Shoddy, where you been? Where you been? I think Daniel, did you leave? I'm sorry, Daniel, I'm not mad at you. I'm just basically addressing your question, you know, so that people aren't reading this and thinking that you're onto something, because you're not. You're just not, Daniel. But that doesn't mean I'm mad at you. It doesn't mean I don't love you, pal. But I just had to correct you because that was inaccurate information. And you know what's accurate? Let me show you. I'll tell you something that is accurate. The difference between inaccurate information, like you just said about Xavier Worthy, and accurate information is like this. BBQ just dropped 50 gifted memberships and is a monster. That is accurate.
Let him cook.
I've been waiting for years. Ziggy, volume 10. Why do I have my iPad again? Let's try that again. There we go. we completely missed on that. Every once in a while, you drop a ball. It's okay. Marvin Harrison Jr. won't, but every once in a while, you drop a ball. Thank you for the gifted memberships. Guys, if you got a gifted membership from the man, the myth, the legend, the man known as BBQ, not only say thank you to BBQ, but drop the BBQ emoji, because he's got his own emoji. I don't know if my phone line's broken. Can someone call in and test it out? I've relaunched it 3 times. I think I'm good. It did look like I got a call a minute ago and it just went right away. I reset it again. Phone line should be working.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Masonite to the moon. Jordan Mason, please report to the stage, the front stage. Jordan Mason, please report to the front stage. Your touchdowns are waiting. Everybody drop a Jordan Mason touchdown total on the season. I'll start. Minimum, bare bones, low expectation, 8. Capable of more for sure. 8 tutties. Fully capable of 8 tutties. That's my bare bones expectation. Shoddy says, Smitty, I blew out my knee. Ah, man, that's hard to hear. Back on painters, so I'm in rehab working on myself. I'm sorry, bro, to hear that. Doing a lot better. Great hearing from you. Everybody give it a standing ovation. We're here for you, pal. Yeah, buddy. This place will help you because this is your getaway. Okay, BBQ, the GOAT. Yes, he is. All right, phone line seems to be back. Paul, you're live. What's up, Paul? Oh, hold on, Paul. That's probably why. Damn it. Okay, Paul, can you hear me now? Hit me with it, Paul. You're live. You're live.
All right. I'm not defending January or anything about Xavier Worthy, but listen, because I think this is his logic or his perspective. Because Rasheed Rice was injured for like the whole season, and that's why they had to go to Worthy. And that's why I feel like next season when Rasheed Rice, I'm not hating on Worthy.
But you are. You kind of are. You just because you say, hey, I'm not gonna step on your glasses, man. But then you step on my glasses. You're like, but I said I wasn't. Just because you say you're not putting lipstick on a pig doesn't mean you're not putting lipstick on a pig 5 minutes later. Like you're calling in to slightly casually hate on Xavier Worthy, even though you're saying you're not.
He's a great player.
Okay, but let me ask you a question. Why can't him and Rice coexist? I don't get why all this.
They can't. I think they can, but I'm talking about like Daniel's like perspective. Does that make sense? So like, I feel like they can coexist. In fact, I feel like if the attention's on either one of the two, then the ball's gonna go to either Worthy or Rice because you have to factor.
I think you're making a bunch of assumptions that you don't have the authority or the ability statistically or historically or anything to make. That's all I'm saying. Like look, Kelsey's gonna fade more than normal. Isn't that going to open up enough carries to compensate? Were other receivers besides Worthy catching footballs in KC? Yes. So Rice and Worthy are both together going to absorb Kelsey's work share, and also the other receivers that were replacing Rice at the time. It's not like there's only 15 targets now to divide up now that Rice is back. And no, Worthy's going to run the ball a lot. He's going to get 2 or 3 touchdowns running the ball in. Worthy's going to have 10 plus touchdowns on the year, just sum total from having the rushing and receiving capability. Rasheed Rice is going to take a little time probably to get completely back to his 100% self. And Mahomes is on a mission. Mahomes is bulking up. He's working out. He's coming for blood this year. And the drop off of Kelsey will replenish the target availability. I understand what you're saying, but I just find it funny that Addison and JJ and Hawkinson can eat, J-Mo and St. Brown and Jamar Chase and Higgins and other Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, all these wide receiver duos, they can all eat together, but all of a sudden we got to tear Worthy down because Rasheed Rice is coming back. And I admittedly like Rice almost more than Worthy. But that doesn't mean I don't love Worthy. It doesn't mean both these guys can't have 10 touchdowns each. I'm not saying maybe one of them has 20, but they're both 10 to 12 touchdown capable, and neither one of them is really going to eat into the other's workload, bro. Mahomes is going to throw enough. And if you doubt Mahomes, I get it. But Mahomes is going to prove all the people wrong. And everybody that thinks Mahomes is... Everyone that thinks Mahomes... What?
Mahomes, he's going to be back to, like, his former self.
I think so. Right? I think so. And while we did see Mahomes drop a 7 and a 10 quarterback season, back-to-back seasons, and we're a little bit disappointed in that. We have to keep it in mind that this man was QB1, QB4, QB3, QB1 in years past. And he had such a weird set of circumstances the last 2 years, especially last year when he lost Rice, he lost Hollywood Brown. Worthy was a rookie getting to know the game and the offense. And the KC offense is one of the hardest, most difficult playbooks to pick up. Okay, so it takes players a long time to get going. That's why when Daniel said what he said, I don't know if Daniel's your friend and you're just coming to bat for him. I don't know if Daniel came back. I don't know if he ever came back. Is Daniel your buddy?
Nah, like I said from the beginning of the call, I'm trying to understand his perspective.
I know, but the fact that Worthy's become the staple for Mahomes already, and there's more than enough to go around. I don't know why one has to be good and one has to be disappointing.
That's all I'll say about Worthy, and he is a great player. But if you look at the Super Bowl game, he kind of turned it up towards the end of the game. Even though they were losing, but
wait a minute, bro. Wait a minute, come on. Are you trying to say something negative at all about his Super Bowl performance? Is that what you just kind of tried to? Okay, because he goes, hold on. He caught all 8 of his targets. He had 157 yards and 2 touchdowns and a long of 50. And I felt like you said something negative about him. Well, he came on at the end. So what was it that you said? You said the thing about Worthy is. Go ahead and repeat that.
Here's what I'll say about Worthy. No, in a positive light, like he did turn up in the end, and I feel you got to realize what defense they're playing. Like
the Eagles.
So the thing is, like, since he went off on the Eagles, imagine what he can do with.
Okay. Okay. But the thing. Okay. So you're saying a positive. Okay. All right. The way you started to word that was like, the thing about Worthy though is that he kind of like didn't. I feel like you turned that at the end just so you didn't get roasted, because it sounded like you were going negative. You were like, he didn't do it. You know, he showed up at the end of the game. I don't know, bro. I can't figure you out.
You got to compare what he did with the defense that he has, right? And then like see what he can do with like versus the other defenses, which are like lower tiered, you know?
I mean, all I know is against the Buffalo Bills, he had 85 yards and a touchdown. And the very next game in the Super Bowl, he had 157 and 2 touchdowns. And you called in to defend Daniel's stance. So I'm a little confused. Okay, but I don't know that Daniel's perspective needs defending, because it's not, in my opinion, the defense perspective that needs defending. We don't need to play devil's advocate on his wrong stance. His stance was the thing about Worthy. You're trying to defend Daniel's comment. Daniel's comment was the thing about Worthy is he's going to have some dud games, and then he's going to have some good games, and that's sometimes worse than a player that plays a little lesser but consistently. When what you're saying has nothing to do with defending Daniel's stance. Daniel's stance is wrong because Worthy didn't get going until the end of the season, and once he got going, he was fire the entire way. The entire way. His last 5 games were glory. His last 5 games, dare I say, were probably top 3 wide receiver numbers. His last 5 games played, I bet you ranks him at least 1, 2, or 3 overall for all wide receivers. I'm not sure because I've done the calculation, but 157 and 2, 85 and 1. Again, he didn't play. I believe he didn't play at all week 17, right? So you've got that, or 18. So you've got Pittsburgh 979 and 1. I'm sorry, 879 and 1, 65 and 1. You got a guy that scored in 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the other playoff game was, I think, just 70 yards, no touchdowns. 5 TDs in 5 games. Dare I say that's a top 3 wide receiver in his final 5 games. I'm just saying, like, you come in, you're defending Daniel's stance. Defend Daniel's stance. Daniel's stance was not that he was really good at the end of the year, and I wonder if Rice will take over. His stance was he's an inconsistent player that will give you dud games and good games. That was Daniel's stance.
Yeah, I'm not defending that.
All right. I love you. I love you, Paul. I don't want you to think I'm mad at you. I'm here to kind of like make sure that, like, my job is my audience is watching. And if somebody says something that I don't agree with, and I could be wrong, I might totally whiff on it. But my opinion in the current moment of time is that if I see something that is inaccurate, in my opinion even, I will address it. It doesn't mean that I don't appreciate your opinion or that you don't have a shot in hell of being right. I just don't want people to be thinking that Worthy's inconsistent because somebody said it in my chat. You know, but...
Okay, so going forward then, for Worthy, where would you put him?
I'd probably say that I rank Worthy. If I had to rank Worthy, that's such a tough... Let's put up the wide receiver ADP because, and I think I have that over... Let's see here. I have it over on the screen somewhere. Let me find it. Oh, Worthy! Here's the ADP. So this is from top to down to bottom. Worthy's going at right in the middle of the screen. 37 overall for wide receiver, or 37 overall ADP, right? Is that what that says? 37.4 ADP. I would probably say, let me put this, hold on a second. So you guys can see it right here. I think one can make an argument about Rashee Rice over him, but maybe not initially because he could miss 2 games on a suspension. He might not be fully ready in week 1 to be 100% himself, but he'll play. I think he's 100% going to play week 1 unless he has a setback. I could get behind Devontae Smith, Devontae Adams, Xavier Worthy, Marvin Harrison Jr., Terry McLaurin, any of those guys being ranked over one another. DK Metcalf even. I really like DK Metcalf. I don't mind DK Metcalf being ranked above Worthy or right with Worthy. I think people are sleeping on DK Metcalf this year. And I love it. And I'm all about taking him down here at 48 overall. I'm just letting you know where I think he could finish. But, I mean, this is a good spot. I think you're probably luckier to get him in the 4th round, which is where he's falling right now, the top of round 4. I think you're looking at best ball data where people draft wide receivers at an unbelievably higher clip. So this is a little bit off. I think in your work league, your Aunt Edna's league, your buddy league, your non-best ball home league, this 37 ADP is more like 40, 42. I think you're getting him. Yeah, I think this is because it's best ball. Best ball, people are brainwashed into thinking they have to go wide receiver, or at least wide receiver. You go running back, people think you don't know how to draft best ball. When the 2023 winner, Underdog Mania, I believe the winner was running back. This is wild that people think you can't dominate with 100 different strategies. Not to mention you go against the grain. If you land all your other picks, you have a huge advantage. Worthy's great in the 40s. I think this is a little early. Like, this is like pushing it a little bit. Doesn't mean he can't earn it. It just means that you're not packaging in the risk as much. You know, it's kind of like buying a home, or it's like buying a stock, let's say a coin, let's say a digital, let's say crypto or whatever. And I'm not giving any sort of crypto advice. I don't do that. I don't even do crypto. But if you buy it at a certain price where you think it's fine there, it's probably going to hang around there. Might dip a little, might go up. Like, that's what you're buying Worthy at 37 overall. I don't think it's a league losing move. I don't think it's necessarily the biggest league winning move. But if you were to wait for the stock or whatever to dip, in this case, the player to dip into the 40s, or in your non-best ball home leagues, you get him at 45, 47. Now, all of a sudden, you're getting something that I know almost with a certainty, if he stays healthy, you're crushing the ADP. So be careful where you take him, but he's certainly a value. Him and Rice. And honestly, in your non-best ball leagues, you can kind of get Worthy in 4, Rice in 5, and Mahomes in 6. And that is lethal. And I don't even like doing that in non-best ball very often, but that would be pretty lethal. It would especially be lethal in best ball, but it's kind of hard to do that in best ball. You pretty much can't. You never know, though. ADPs can shift a little bit.
Okay. And then, last question. This is, more of, I'm just curious. For James Cook, would you this year's rookie pick? Or, which rookie pick would you trade for?
For Cook?
To get Cook out.
To get Cook, trade him away. Okay.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a little bit risky to talk about this now, but I don't mind. I love these kind of conversations, but understand the fact that this could change, bro. And I'm not responsible for the fact that one of these guys could be worth nothing or something like that. Let's say Henderson gets drafted to the New York Jets, and then all of a sudden we're someone's day is going to get ruined, by the way, on draft day. Some running back's value is going to get ruined on draft day. Let me see if I can get this to focus here. Okay. So I would say James Cook. I'd rather have obviously Genty. That goes without saying. That's easy. I'd rather Hampton, even not knowing where he's going. I'd rather have Henderson. And I think that's about where you draw the line. I'm not saying you can't go past that, but I would take the gamble on Hendy. I would take the gamble on Hampton, obviously. And if I even have to mention why you want Genty over Cook, you shouldn't even be playing fantasy football. But Hampton and Hendy, I would take over Cook. 100%. But that's kind of where you draw the line and just say, okay, Judkins is interesting, bro. Like, if he goes to the right spot, you know, that's a place I could see. You know, he reminds me so much of James Cook in some ways. I could see them trading Cook away and drafting Judkins. It'd be weird, but that's totally doable. I mean, Scatterboo is tough because I don't know where he's going, but I certainly would say that the value is not high enough that you should be doing this trade. I think if you were getting Scatterboo and you knew you were getting Scatterboo and it wasn't just a pick that might land you Scatterboo, like if the NFL draft's over, everybody's got their, you know, you're drafting and you're on the clock and he's there or something. I think that Cook for Scat and something plus something is the way I would go about it. However, if he goes to LV, he goes to Washington, he goes to Denver, he goes to Cleveland, and he's the lone starter, now all of a sudden you probably can't even get Scatterboo for Cook in a trade. So it's just it's a crazy, you know, shifting of balances, bro. And right now, without landing spots, Scat is undervalued and easily attainable for a Cook, and you get more if you're trading that. Hendy, I venture to say a lot of people that if they had Hendy right now currently, dynasty owners wouldn't trade him for Cook. The guy that drafted him loves him, targeted him.
Yeah, just gotta play the market. So he's like James Cook for Hendy plus.
Yeah. But like anybody else, you gotta wait. You just gotta wait. You could get so much more. Yeah, you can't. All right, bro. Later. Appreciate you. Let's see here. Who's on the phone now? We got Rock Out. You're live, my boy. James Cook for Scatterboo is a horrific trade. That's what I just said. That you get more, Perry. Listen up. Go ahead, Rock Out. He's in the building.
The Cooper Kupp. I know you don't really like where he's being placed, but what place would you take him if it's in like a random league?
What round?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd probably say the best round for Cooper Kupp. Let's go back to the ADP data and see where Kupp's ADP is, because Kupp's ADP is right around. Do I even have it on here? Because I don't know if it's on here. Cooper Kupp, I think it's like probably like in the 70 range. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I mean, I think he's getting
got a little bit left.
Yeah, I think he does, but I think he's probably getting drafted right about appropriately, because I mean, I don't know what he's going to do. If he's going to be your wide receiver 3 in fantasy, you got to make sure you're loaded at the other positions. So let me dig into this ADP real quickly. So Kupp is going at number overall. He's going at number 86 overall. So that's pretty good value. I like that. I don't mind that at all. Who's getting drafted below him? Travis Hunter. I'd take Travis Hunter in a heartbeat over Cooper Kupp. I'd take Travis Hunter. Don't tell anybody, but I'd take Travis Hunter. His ADP's at 94, which is climbing. It was at 110 at one point, 100. And I feel like everyone's starting to kind of get excited about him again. It sucks because so many people were doubting him so badly, and they still are. Like him going at 94 overall and Ted McMillan going at mother freaking 49 is criminal, and it's laughable. And it makes me like, it just makes me almost want to, you know, draft all my leagues right now. It's crazy. I can't believe that. I can't believe Ted McMillan is going at 40. He's going at the bottom of round 4, and Travis Hunter is going at 94 overall. It's still criminal. But Hunter's below Kupp. I go Hunter. McMillan's below Kupp. I think that's probably arguable. They're probably about the same value and same risk, because you think about Evans and Godwin, and then McMillan trying to vie for targets. But he has the upside of maybe Evans is going to age out during the year. Maybe Godwin's not healthy for week 1. He's kind of iffy for week 1. Godwin's been a player I just quickly turned off, and I don't want him really at his ADP at all. And so I think McMillan's crafty, but you got to take him smartly, like in the 90s to 100, like this. This is where you take McMillan, Jalen McMillan, the Buccaneer. You take Jalen McMillan, the sophomore, as a wide receiver 4 in hopes that he takes your wide receiver 3 out of play, and you're throwing Jalen McMillan in there. But you got to draft him smartly. So Cooper Kupp and him are kind of in the same risk level. Only Kupp's is, will he perform? Is Sam Darnold going to throw the football enough? There's multiple red flags there as well. It just so happens Jalen McMillan, the sophomore receiver for the Bucs, not the rookie receiver, Ted McMillan. Jalen McMillan is beholden to his situation. It's not his talent. Kupp is beholden to whether his talent's still there and can Darnold throw the ball enough. Above him, Egbuka. I'd rather have Egbuka over Kupp by a country mile. Aiyuk, give me Cooper Kupp. I'd rather have Cooper Kupp over Aiyuk. Aiyuk's not going to be written. Jacoby Myers, that's an interesting one. A lot of Jacoby Myers fans everywhere because I don't know why. He's a good player, but there's so many Jacoby Myers fans everywhere. The guy had a 10, 27, and 4 TD season last year, so I know why people are excited about him. And if they don't bring in another receiver, I think I could get on the Jacoby Myers train a little bit. I won't claim to have conducted it or created it, I promise you. But I will be more on board if they don't address the receiver position. I'm just not a huge fan of Geno enough to say he's feeding Bowers and Jacoby to the tune of a real wide receiver 1 in fantasy, which Myers isn't getting drafted there, but 73 overall is right below Pickens. It's right above, all those players we just talked about. Debo, I'd rather have Debo Samuel, who's a little bit higher, but Debo Samuel over Jacoby Myers. But anyway, that's how I feel about that. All right, hang tight real quickly, Rockout. I'll come right back to you. Travis, you're live. Yo.
I think Jacoby Myers, is the Patriots, and I think he pretty much is going to be
like 905.
Yeah.
Like 905 is what I feel.
It's going to be his average season. And
he's good.
Like if he might be able to hit an 1,100, 1,200.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, he's not amazing.
Wide receiver. Yeah.
He just, it reminds me a lot of the Deontay Johnson, I think it's just because people feel like they have a value, and those people are loud. The people that find what they believe to be the hidden gem, they just are really, really loud. They're like, Jacoby's going to break out, and I like him, but a 905.
He's going to be 29 in November.
I know.
He's not young.
Yeah.
No, he's, like you said, good. I was calling on in the Bills. Like, I understand Cook's not like it. I could see reason to move on from him. I think they.
I mean, think of it this way, Travis. Sorry, you're cutting in and out. Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, a little bit. I think I heard what you said, but yeah, I agree. Like, $15 million a year versus drafting Cam Scatterboo, and like, if let's say Scat fell to the 3rd round, like, you tell me, why on earth for the cheap team? They're a cheap team. Why would they spend even $12 million a year on James Cook when they can draft Scatterboo as a rookie and start over, fresh contract, use that money elsewhere? Yeah, I don't know. So maybe they trade him.
Really? Have that elite offensive player. Like, it seems like they're happy with the collection of guys on offense, and I don't know if that's going to work. I think they need maybe Keon Coleman will become that guy, but I think they need us for Josh Allen to throw to.
Yeah,
$1 million a year for Cook. Crazy.
Smitty, live in Buffalo, not even a Bills fan. Haven't heard anything like this about James Cook. Well, Michael, I can't help that you haven't heard it. I'm telling you it. Bryson, thoughts on Tyler Warren? Need a tight end, thinking of him. Yeah, I mean, we love Tyler Warren here. as long as he lands in a great spot. The Jets is a good place. The Patriots would be a great place. You know, if he landed in a crowded situation or a weird quarterback situation, then I just think I pump the brakes for a couple of years because rookie tight ends develop slowly. So it kind of depends on where he goes. I wish I had an answer for you. Coble with a $5 hauler. Stop scaring them away with facts, Smitty. I wasn't low or high on Worthy last year, but you adjust and adapt. I'm still loving Coleman. Year 2 monster. Let me just say that I still love Keon Coleman's skill set. I don't know how much I love the Buffalo Bills and how they're understanding how good he is, but he is still a great prospect, and he's twice the player that some of these rookie wide receivers that are ranking like 4, 5, and 6 right now are. And he's got experience now. So I'm very intrigued by Keon Coleman. And the way Josh Allen and him connected in the offseason last year, it's almost as wild as like when Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers were going crazy. Or Bijan was catching one-handed touchdown receptions like crazy in the offseason. And then Bijan had his Arthur Smith year. And we're like, come on. They were using him like crazy in the offseason. Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers looked unbelievable. And they didn't during the year. Like, that's how Keon Coleman felt with Josh Allen. Josh Allen was throwing to him left and right. Keon Coleman was the only star pass catcher in the offseason. And he was doing everything. He was all over. He's snagging touchdown left and right. And then they just didn't use him. So we'll see. I'm very intrigued by Keon Coleman. And I don't think we were wrong. We were just a year early. But I also can't control whether they use him. And they certainly didn't use him right last year. And BBQ with the $10 hauler. A lot of us were early on Worthy last year, but it takes wide receivers time to shine in Reed's offense. And again, to that point, as I say, and I say every year, and I've said for years, and dating back to Damian Williams, this offense is the toughest offense to learn. The playbook is one of the most complex playbooks in the National Football League. And Damian Williams said he didn't get a hang of it for over a year. And Mahomes, for the entire season, that Damian Williams had that really great Super Bowl performance and good playoff performance, and we thought it would carry over into the next year, and they didn't even use him. Damian Williams, after playing for the Chiefs for practically a year, said that he still would go in the huddle, and Mahomes would go, look at the turn force, hash back left, 22, 47, 6, pitch 25, okay, on 3. Hey, Damian, you're going to block. You know, or he'd say, Damian, you're going to do a 5-yard out. He'd tell Damian what to do, and he'd call the play out for everybody else. It was that complicated. Damian Williams couldn't pick it up. Now, I'm not saying he's the smartest guy in the room, Damian, and I'm not saying he's the dumbest. I'm just saying it took him a while to pick it up. So, Worthy being a rookie, it's natural. Rookie running backs like Clyde Edwards-Helaire didn't pick things up quickly either, and then he got left behind. He got hurt. So it's not the easiest place for a rookie wide receiver, running back, or any position to really thrive. So to that point, and we mentioned that every single offseason, he earned Mahomes' trust and broke out late. Rice was taking Kelsey's targets. They coexist perfectly. Yeah, the fact that anybody, and I don't know that Daniel ever came back. Daniel, I don't want you to feel, is this the same Daniel? Calvin Austin, Smitty. Are you the same Daniel? Just had a decent rookie year at the end. Reminds me of Godwin. I like Calvin Austin. I just don't know if the opportunity's there because now he's the third receiver. If, let's say, Pickens gets traded, then all of a sudden we have a conversation. And I like Calvin Austin. I think he's really good. But there's just not an opportunity yet for him to become a star of any kind. But to the question that Daniel had, and I didn't mean to go at Daniel's take so hard, but I wanted everyone to know the passion behind my response on that stance so that people don't, it's obviously a good thing to talk about. If people are worried about Worthy being inconsistent because people say it like Daniel did, I'm going to shoot Daniel's argument down and blow it to shreds because Worthy was the most consistent wide receiver in the National Football League in his last 5 games, dare I say, at least top 3. I haven't done the calculations, but Travis, I don't know if you have time, but if you take out his week 18, his last 5 games divided by 5, taking out week 18 because he didn't play, I wonder if that scores wide receiver 2 or 3 overall on the year. And I'm not saying extrapolating 5 games is a smart way to look at data, but is certainly smarter than saying he's inconsistent when he was fire the exact 5 games straight. And that includes that bad playoff game, Travis. Include that if you're doing it. Where he had no touchdowns, but he had like 70 yards or 60 yards. His 5 straight games from the...
Oh. The 3 playoff games?
Yeah, use the 3 playoff games, and then week 18, I don't think he played at all. And then so use week 17. Yeah, so use everything but the week 18 game, the last 5 games. Dare I say, divide that by 5 and then multiply it by 17. Dare I say, extrapolating that finishes wide receiver 2 or 3. So, thanks, Travis. And so anyway, what I was going to say to BBQ's point is that Rashee Rice is going to walk in to a declining Travis Kelce. Targets are now available. The players that were playing in Rice's stead, those targets are now available. Rice isn't needing to take anything from Xavier Worthy. Between Kelce and those available targets that were already being consumed by another replacement, you've got nothing changing for Xavier Worthy except for he's a year smarter, a year stronger, a year wiser, a whole offseason to prepare with Mahomes in a way that he understands the playbook preparing. And Worthy could take a whole nother step forward in the rushing department. And Worthy wouldn't shock me if he had 250 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. Now, all of a sudden, Worthy just needs 7 passing touchdowns or receiving touchdowns. And I don't know, 900 yards. And he's 1,100 yard total yard wide receiver with 70 to 80 receptions and 10 total touchdowns on his worst year. All right. Yeah. So back to the Cook thing real quick. It's like, could he get traded? Yeah. I mean, Kenneth Walker and James Cook are probably the most tradable or most likely to be traded big name running backs, even though it's rare. It's rare to happen. Teams would rather invest in what they consider to be, quote unquote, a free rookie on a fresh contract, especially when the rookie running back class is almost every bit as good as the current talent of players in the National Football League right now, minus the big 6-7 running backs in the league. You take the 6-7 running backs in the league, like the Bijans, the Kyrans, all those guys off the board, right? And then you say, okay, throw Genty in with those guys because Genty's already in there. But now you say, okay, Hampton, Hendy, Scatterbo, Judkins, can those guys be as good as every other running back besides Genty and the 6 or 7 top running backs? The answer is they could. And I think teams know that, and teams are smart enough. The thing you're going to have is a team that wants to win now, a team that specifically likes Kenneth Walker like the Raiders do, because guess who's coaching the Raiders? Okay, so there's a reuniting type of theme going on in LV. And Pete Carroll brought in Geno. Wouldn't have been surprising if DK went to LV, instead he went to Pittsburgh, but there was talk about that. And Kenneth Walker getting a phone call, you're Seattle, you pick it up. It's, hey, this is Las Vegas. Pete Carroll here. Can I get my Kenneth Walker back? So those things can play into why a trade might happen, even though it's rare. And James Cook not being happy with his money situation, you got to find a team that's willing to pay the price. Who's going to pay that price? Who's going to want to bring Cook over and then give him $15 million a year? Even if Cook said, I'll take 12, don't tell anybody, okay? And we knew that for a fact. No team that I can think of is really in the mix for that right now, because if you trade for James Cook, you are 1,000% signing him to a long-term extension in conjunction with the trade announcement, because that's how trades happen. You don't trade draft capital for a player that you're not locking down. That's the whole point in getting the player. So if a team gets James Cook, are they going to pay him $12 million a year? There's probably 1 or 2 teams that I can even think of that would remotely consider it, and that's a possibility, though. So James Cook being traded, it's a possibility. Is it a likely possibility? No. Is Walker getting traded a likely possibility? No. But if LV gets hungry to reunite Pete Carroll and Walker together, then that could be why it happens. Travis, you got those numbers? Thoughts on Tyler? You what?
Let me see here.
All right, let me. Okay.
as long as I added up right in those 5 games, so the last 2 regular season games he played and 3 playoffs, he ended up with 34 receptions, 431 yards, 5 touchdowns. If you extrapolate that over 17 games, right?
Yeah, give me the yards, the receptions, the touchdowns, and then we'll multiply it. Then tell me the fantasy. Yeah.
Receptions would be 115.6.
Okay.
Yards, 1,465.4.
Jeez.
And he was averaging 1 touchdown a game.
So 17 TDs.
Yeah.
Is that wide receiver 1?
I think so, because it would be.
My eyeballs don't lie. I could sense it. My spidey senses kind of know where Worthy probably is. Top 3 wide receiver. What'd I say? Daniel, have you learned your lesson, Daniel?
Wide receiver 2, and he would have had 364.14 points in PPR.
Yeah. And where was Chase at? Chase was like 370.
Chase had 403 in this league in margin.
Okay, yeah. Okay, full. Yeah, so
I'm on Raw with 2, and he had 315 points. So Worthy was clearing wide receivers.
That just shows how high Jamar Chase was. He was so far ahead of everybody. But this is crazy, man.
Granted, 17 touchdowns is a lot, but still, even if you take away, 4 or 5 touchdowns, he's still wide.
And then if we say 16 minus 8 and 28 rushing yards, which I didn't give you, or did you use rushing yards? 28 divided by 5 times. Let's see. Hold on. Yeah, divided by times 17. So about 9 more points, 9 to 10 more points is what he would have probably had. So that's crazy though. So anyway, Daniel, appreciate you, but we had to go there.
No, it's right there. I mean, if you just watch those games and watch that he progressed over the season, as he got more comfortable in the offense and learned it more, and Mahomes started targeting him more.
Doesn't it just make you want to go? I mean, really, you just kind of have those dud games. 5 straight games gave him this. Wide receiver 2 overall. What a dud. What a consistent dud. Jonathan, Bills GM confirmed the wrist really affected Coleman. He was gaining his stride and then he got hurt. I think he could build off that. Yeah, that was also true. Definitely. How do you feel about Garrett Wilson?
He had 2 nice games before he got hurt.
Yeah. How do I feel about Garrett? Thank you, Coble, for the super chat, my boy. How do I feel about, and thank you, gifted memberships again by BBQ. Just unbelievable. I want to put that on screen just so we can celebrate BBQ. Drop a BBQ emoji for him dropping 50 gifted memberships. Hit that like button. Hit that thumb up button on the way in the door, please. What was I saying right now? I was just saying something. Oh no, I want to answer this question. I saw this question. Orion says, how do you feel about Garrett Wilson, Justin Fields stack next year? Well, let me ask you a question. How do you feel about Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow? How do you feel about Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts? How do you feel about connecting quarterback and college wide receiver? Like, you got to remember the rapport is there between these two guys. They play football together in college. And I don't think a lot of people talk about that enough. So Garrett Wilson's probably playing with the most comfortable quarterback situation to him that he's played with all his whole career. And Fields made DJ Moore a top 5 to 7 wide receiver depending on your scoring. And you can't hold the Pickens production against Fields because Fields was handcuffed behind his back, one hand at least, while he played for Pittsburgh. So the only thing we have where he was completely unlocked as a starter, full playbook capability, and had a weapon, even though he didn't have anything else. The defense was awful. Everything was awful. Offensive line was awful. He turned DJ Moore into a top 5 to 7 wide receiver. And the year prior to that, when he had no wide receiver and he had no weapons, and Ryan Poles, who I believe is one of the worst GMs in the league, he ripped all the meat off the bone and sent Fields out there to fend for himself without any blocking, without any receivers, without anything the year prior to DJ Moore. What'd he do? Didn't do as well as we wanted him to do passing because he couldn't. But what'd he do? 1,100 plus yards rushing. And did he have how many touchdowns? Did he have 10 touchdowns? Let me see if I can pull that up. Fields.
Quite a few, I know that.
I want to say it was like around 8 to 10, if I remember correctly. It was 20, 8 touchdowns, yeah. So
Yeah.
8 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, that was an awesome.
2022, right?
Yeah, the 2022 season, 11. Yeah, the year before the DJ Moore season.
Yep.
And he still had 17 passing touchdowns. And the crazy part is people would say, oh, he's inaccurate. You know what I hate about people saying that Fields is inaccurate? I can't stand it. It's gibberish. It's repeated regurgitation. It's people not understanding, honestly, the numbers. It's people hearing it and telling it to somebody else. His interception totals are pretty solid. 10 his rookie year, 11 the year prior where he had no wide receivers, as I said. And he had to run all that yardage on the ground, 1143 and 8 touchdowns. He had 11 INTs in a situation where he's running for his life, making probably some very risky throws to keep plays alive because he had nobody open. He'd drop back, no one was open. He'd run around and he'd throw some errant passes that were incomplete, and people clowned on his percentage and he's such a bad thrower, and his rating was 85.2, but his QBR 56.3. People were really upset at him. He's so inaccurate. He's never going to be good. Then why is he throwing only 11 INTs? Only 11 INTs in the worst situation he could ever drum up. And he gets you 1143 and 8 touchdowns on the ground. Fields is one of the biggest sleepers in fantasy football at the quarterback position in 2025. And I'm so upset about it. I might just put him on the Moon Man list right now. It bothers me that he gets no respect.
Deserving, yeah.
It bothers me.
Be a good spot for him.
The Moon Man is dropping loads in
I'm doing
outer
it.
space.
Sometimes I get emotional and I make a decision, and then like the next day I look at the Moon Man list because I'm going through it. I'm like, why did I put him on there? But I think Fields of Dreams is getting added. I'm doing it. I don't care. You can rip on it. You can try and throw historical data at us that is meaningless, and I don't even care about what you're saying because it's gibberish. You've heard it from another person, so you think it's a logical take. Fields has never had the full capability of having talent and the starting job unlocked. He's never had that. He finally has it. Today is April 2nd. Fields is being added on April 2nd to the Moon Man list, and you can do what you want with that information. I don't. If you're hating on it, you can hate on it. I don't.
And the fact that the Bears got so many, pass-catching weapons for Caleb Williams this time around, they were afraid that they're going to have another field on it, so they blow it. They gave Fields nothing. Where Mooney, who's good, can't carry an offense. That was the best weapon he had.
Yeah, bro, it's going to be wild to see him in an amazing offense with an amazing defense. He's never had good field position. He's never had a good culture. And I know that some people want to say it's the Jets, though. I promise you, Aaron Glenn has wiped clean the culture that was there. It's like mold. Mold was in the facility, and no matter who came in, they were all going to get sick. Didn't matter. But Aaron Glenn blew it up and created a new facility that's mold-free. And he got rid of all the people that had mold on them. Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, anybody that had to do with the old regime. And he said, I'm going to take the young crew that was here before Aaron Rodgers, infected it with the Green Bay Packer mentality, and I'm going to make this my team. We're going to run the damn ball maybe, I don't know, a third more than normal, which is going to open up opportunities for Allen and the rushing attack, and Breece Hall is going to be just fine. And if Breece Hall's value falls because you hear the Mickey Mouse content creator telling you that there's not enough carries to go around, Breece Hall's risky, that's music to your ears and music to my ears, because now Breece Hall, instead of going at 3.1, 2.11, 2.8, or 3.3, might fall to the bottom of round 3. Dare I say, in best ball, he'll probably go at the 4.1 soon. And people, you hear a bunch of people talk about him being outside the top 12 running backs, and I get a big belly laugh and chuckle out of it, because he'll do a hell of a job from that ADP. You don't even have to expect anything from him. That's like getting I don't know. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe this. It's kind of like, I don't know. You go and you're taking Breece Hall in the 4th round or the mid 3rd round. This is if his value continues to plummet, which it is, and it's stupid. It shouldn't be. But it's like going to the local cafe and you're like, hey, I'll get an omelet with a side of hash browns, and they come over to the table and they give you a stack of pancakes, they give you a side order of bacon, they give you your omelet, they bring over a croissant, a chocolate croissant, and you got all this on the table, and it's like none of it even has to be good. You're gonna get your value. There's no, even if Breece Hall isn't as good as I think he's going to be, let's say the committee hurts him, doesn't matter. He's earning you his late 3rd, 4th round value. You could take a bite of that warm chocolate croissant, and it might be crusty and hard. You just move on to the omelet. The omelet tastes fine. The hash browns are good. The pancakes are a little hard. Doesn't matter. It was all baked in, literally. For people to expect Breece Hall to not earn late 3rd, maybe 4.1 value in best ball off of even a sharing situation in the worst of scenarios, which I don't believe will be the case. But even if I'm wrong and he splits it 50-50 with Braylon Allen, which he won't, or the 3 RBs there, he's getting you 4.1 value. Like, what are we talking about here? Go to the cafe and order the omelet. You will not be sorry with what they deliver to your table. All right, Travis, anything else? Rock out. You guys got anything else for me? I'll be back tonight.
I don't even know who it was. I saw someone saying about Worthy, he can't do that with Rice in the lineup. Well,
really?
That extrapolation we did, it was off of 140 targets. Patrick Mahomes throws the ball 600 times.
Well, should I just log off right now then? I didn't think about the consequences of.
Yeah,
I'll just leave. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about my Worthy. I didn't even think about that there were other players on the roster. Sorry.
600 times they throw you. Plenty of opportunities.
This is like the Jahmyr Gibbs. Did you hear the report today that said that Gibbs? They're going to keep Gibbs in his exact role because it'll help his longevity to keep feeding Monty. You know how many DMs I got again? And I don't even read them. I'm not going to respond to you. You know how many DMs I got today on Instagram alone that were like, Smitty, did you hear the news? Are we worried about Gibbs?
Stock's down.
Come on.
Stock's going down.
Come on. What is wrong with people?
How many times have we talked about that?
I mean, I don't understand. Freedom says, I think I just pulled all these comments on screen. Yeah. All great comments. And Orion, great topic. You know, can I ask a question from the 171 of you in here? Would it be helpful to have like these? We talk about so much on this channel, and I don't clip like a segment, like the segment about what did Orion ask? I'm already forgetting what Orion asked. Ryan, the Fields question. if I clipped the entire field segment and uploaded that on the channel, would you guys watch it again? Is that what you want to hear? Because a lot of times you don't watch the whole show, so you want to have some extra standalone pieces that may have been on the show. I could even maybe gift wrap it with like a intro, like, hey, listen to this, and at the end kind of give you a summary. Like, in summary, like everything I said here, I forgot this though. You know, like, would that be something that people would be interested in? Because I don't want to. The reason I never do it is because I don't want it to be people be like, oh, I already saw this episode, you know, and not watch it. But if I can add something to it, maybe it would be worth it. Let me know what you guys think real quick in the chat, because I got 164 of you on YouTube at least, and I got my X people. Guys on X, go over to YouTube and subscribe. Would anybody say I wouldn't watch it? Like, I'm just curious, or are people like, hey, yeah, I actually missed so much that I'll see a lot more now if you do that, because I can't watch all hour and a half of the show or something. Let me know real quick in the comments. Would you say, Travis, anything else?
Oh, no, I'm good.
Yeah. I'm your Huckleberry. Man, BBQ says, R.I.P. Val Kilmer. It's so sad, man. Val Kilmer, it like takes away a part of your like vicariousness, you know, like everybody lived vicariously at least at one point in their life through Val Kilmer, whether it was in Top Gun, whether it was Doc Holliday, whether it was, you know, what was that movie that he was in, the one where he's a thief or whatever. It was like a really famous movie. But anyway, Val Kilmer, he'd been suffering for a while, and he hung on for a long time. So, like, no, not Real Genius, but yeah, that movie too. But the Saint, yeah, the Saint, yeah, like everybody lived in Heat. God, the guy was a great actor, but he was like him and Patrick Swayze when those guys turned, you know, they got, you know, cancer or whatever, and it's like you saw them diminish in their capacity. It just kicked you in the stomach. It's like these are heroes, these are superheroes for their time, and it just, man,
Seems so invincible.
Yeah, it sucks to see people you think are invincible aren't invincible. It's wild. But yeah, so prayers up for Val Kilmer, and I'm your Huckleberry. Well, I say a lot of Tombstone lines on this channel that a lot of people don't pick up.
Yeah.
Like whenever someone's on a hold too long, I go, "Oh, Johnny, I apologize. I forgot you were there." When Doc Holliday is sitting out there with Wyatt Earp and what's his name? The guy with the shotgun, Johnny Tyler. Johnny Tyler is playing on the piano or whatever, and then and Wyatt Earp, you know, totally screws with him, and he goes out to see Doc Holliday for the first time in Tombstone, and Johnny Tyler comes out with the shotgun and pointing it right at Wyatt Earp, and Wyatt Earp is sitting there, and he looks over at him, and Doc Holliday goes, "Well, Johnny Tyler, madcap, where you headed with that shotgun?" And he comes over and he goes, "Doc, I didn't know you was in town." And then then all of a sudden Wyatt and him ignore him, and they just start talking. And then a little bit later they look over and he goes, "Oh, Johnny, I forgot you were there. I apologize. You may go now." But I always say that line on the phone line, and I don't think anybody ever picks it up. Travis, anything else?
I'm good. I'll talk to you later if you get back.
All right. See you later. Rock out. We'll see you tonight. Unless you got something real quick. Later, Travis. Johnny.
See you later.
Well, Johnny Tyler. All right, rock out later.
All right.
He's my friend. Well, gosh, Doc, I got lots of friends. I don't. All right, see you all later. Appreciate you. Thank you for my super chats. BBQ to the motherfreaking moon. Celebratory messages. We'll be back tonight. Celebratory messages. We got Bella, check yourself. Bella, check yourself. You still here? 27-month membership. JSN Darnold, Goff for Burrow, Superflex Smash. I don't like that, Bella. Check yourself. I love it. I Smitty approve it. Go get cigar smoking Joe Burrow, pal.
You've just been Smitty.
And on top of that, you can go get a Joe. After you make this trade, go purchase a Joe Burrow t-shirt. Here's the Let me get the link for you. Here's the store to purchase the t-shirt. After you make the trade, Bella, check yourself. If you're still here, get on over to that link. If you want, no pressure. And get you what I believe to be one of the coolest versions of this shirt. Where is it at? Let me see if I can find it real quick. This is the Joe Burrow pixelated shirt. I love this one. This one looks so awesome. These are the best conversation starters. I'm ordering one of each. And yes, even I have to order it because I don't have them stocked. They drop ship. But look at this. They're pixelated shirts. So you walk up. This is as clear as it is. It's this pixelated. You walk up to it. You know, you're in a party setting or you're at work and at the potluck. And you walk up, and if someone knows who this is, they're a real one. They're in the club. You know you can talk foosball with them. But if you walk up to somebody and they're like, what's that shirt? You just look at them and you shake your head and you go, you don't know ball. Fine, I'll do it myself. This is my favorite. This is my absolute favorite. How many of you would know who this is? The 8-bit Kyron. This might even be 6-bit. The 6-bit Kyron. What is that shirt? You don't know ball. Get out of my face. I'm going to make a commercial for that. To promote this line of shirts, it's going to be, you're going to be at a party and you're eating, you know, Chex Mix or something, and somebody's going to say, hey, what is that? And you're going to go, get out of my way. Just run right into him, knock the bowl of Chex Mix out of his hand, and you just keep barreling through people until somebody goes, Kyron Williams? They dab up, they do it live. You don't know ball, in a Batman voice. Idiot. These are all right here if you guys want to get you a shirt, the Pixelated Crew. Let me see if I got more I can show you. The Gibbs one's pretty dope. Imagine not knowing who these monsters are. Just imagine. Where's my JD5? That's the Genty. See, I'll pull the JD5 out real quick and then I'll bounce out of here. I'll see you all later. Appreciate every single one of you. Here's the JD5. The JD5's pretty sweet too. The Kyron's the best one though. And all of them, some of them are more pixelated than others. Like this one's kind of easy to see. I mean, if you squint, you almost exactly know who it is. The Kyron is the best one. The Kyron just, it's like, this is the most pixelated. I like the Gibbs one. That one's pretty fire. The Genty's pretty solid, but the Kyron is just like on a whole nother level of pixelation. That's just fantastic. What's your shirt? Get out of my way. I only talk to people that know ball. That commercial is going to be the best commercial ever made. I can't wait to make it. All right, see you all later. I love this lineup. The 6-bit Kyron's fantastic. This is like a 10-bit JD5. This is about an 8-bit Bijan. That's a 6-bit Josh Allen. So the Kyron and Josh Allen are the most pixelated. Genty's about an 8-bit. The Bucky's pretty damn good. The Bucky's probably I don't know. 10. Is that, what is that? 10-bit? I love this lineup. You know, a couple people don't understand it. I've noticed. You know, and I thought at first, I'm like, am I the only one that likes this? I don't know why, but I just think it's fire. You know, maybe it's going to catch on a little differently and a little different speed. I love it. I love it. Josh Allen and the Chiron are they just make me happy. I'm going to wear this almost every day. I'll see you all later. See you at midnight Eastern. Daniel, that's my boy Daniel. You're the one. Are you the one I yelled at? I love it. Daniel's. This is the right Daniel. I love that he's still here. Shows balls of steel. Worthy had great games. Yes, that's the same Daniel. Daniel, let me just tell you something, Daniel. You got balls of steel. I tore your opinion apart. I don't know if maybe you left and came back. Maybe you left and came back and you didn't know I did. But the fact that Daniel is still here after I literally just tried to level and annihilate his opinion on Worthy, freaking amazing. This is balls of steel right here. This guy probably lives in New York. Nothing can penetrate his thick skin.
Let him cook.
Appreciate Daniel. All right, see you all. Daniel's a monster. Daniel's stock is
Stock on the rise.
Daniel's stock is up. All right, I'm out of here for real this time. Later.